Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok. There's a link in the description below. We have a problem. We have a big problem. We have a major problem, and it might be like a couple of weeks away. So this is not to scare anyone, but things aren't looking that good. So the problem is we're still seeing ramifications and rumblings from the end of the 2008-2009 crisis. Got it. The idea back then, if you've ever watched a documentary on it, was especially a documentary from 2012, 2013. The former heads of the Fed announced that they actually had no idea what they were doing. Several ideas were thrown in their direction, and they simply chose the one that said, let's print more money. The idea of printing more money basically did a number of things. It devalued the US dollar. It allowed more people to see a lower value US dollar and then therefore give them more business because it was easier to deal with them, what have you. This money that was printed was also used to save the banks and to save other industries, yada, yada, yada. This rehashed once again in 2020 and 2021, where we saw interest rates dropping and we saw the amount of money being printed like actually rising to levels that we had never, ever seen before, causing immense amounts of inflation throughout the entirety of the system. So not only the United States, but everywhere. We were talking before, if other places were having a problem, some of them had 30 to 40% inflation year on year. And we're hearing that the US inflation rate was 4, 5, 6, 7%, while rents and groceries were doubling in price. That was the number of inflation that we were given. The reason why in the last 3 or 4 months, why we heard that things were looking up is apparently because, for those of you who missed it, do you remember when the stock market fell in August and then crypto prices fell and everything was really scary for like a good week and a half until we had an indication that the Fed might lower interest rates in the United States and therefore give everything like a little bit more of a boost? For those of you who missed that video and that week of chaos, the reason why the other markets and everything was seemingly looking okay. The world runs on debt. Not some things, all things. And it's leaked deep into everything that we do daily. I told you all this before. You've seen a rise in the amount of things online. Buy now, pay later, get into debt, buy the, there's this kind of thing because people aren't taking out as many mortgages. The idea of the system is to basically grab hold of an individual and put them in debt for the 10 to 15 year cycle plus, if not for life, student loans. Things were looking good from the end of 2022 until August because we found out that people were still taking out massive amounts of debt. They weren't doing it from the US, they weren't doing it in Europe, they weren't going to Latin America or Africa. They were actually all targeting Japan. So remember when the market did, all the markets were doing really well when we had a 0% interest rate, because it basically implies that taking out debt is free. Instead of having to pay back $1,700 a month, you really only have to pay back $15 or $13 or the exact principal number. There's nothing on top of it. You can't do that in America. You can't do that in Europe. You can't do that other places. And we found out in August that apparently all the big money people were just choosing Japan. What happened was that Japan's economy has been doing absolutely terrible for the last couple of years, like really, really bad. The currency there has devalued so much that you probably have seen online. A lot of people are choosing to go to Japan to vacation, to go for a long time, because the currency, I think it's fallen with like 30 or 40% compared to the US dollar. It's not doing too hot. The issue is that people who live there, they're also not having a good time, because that's the currency that they use as it continues to lose more and more value. So the Bank of Japan said, okay, to get this under control, we're going to raise interest rates. And that was the collapse that we witnessed, because everyone, the big money who's been using them as a place to get free money, essentially, because I think at one point the Bank of Japan actually had a negative interest rate. The place to get free money said, we can't do it. Our country's not doing that well. So they rose their interest rate to 0.25. From 0 to 0.25 was that gigantic collapse that you saw from the light taking away of free money. A 1% interest rate is relatively normal. 2, 3, 4. Some credit cards have 4, 5, 6%. Payday loans are like 87%. The system's not doing well when you see that a country rose their interest rate to 0.25% and everything collapsed. When I said that things aren't going well and things aren't looking too hot right now, we heard from the heads of the Bank of Japan at the end last week in August. They said, we got it. We saw what happened. We won't be raising interest rates anymore because we don't want that to happen again. They gave a nod or a hint in the direction that they might try to raise interest rates mid-2025, potentially even the end of 2025. The problem, my friend, is that inflation in Japan is not stopping, and there are economic indicators that their GDP might also begin to suffer as well because of their current low interest rate. And as such, one of the governors of the Bank of Japan actually recently came forward and said that they might have to do it again. I'm not trying to sound dramatic, like I'm just trying to like actually catch my breath as I'm saying all of this. If world markets plummeted off of a raise of 0.25%, if they raise their interest rate anywhere near 1%, we are probably going to witness a very dramatic cascade. At the time of me making this video, there are still no concrete news information as to if the US Fed is going to actually lower interest rates. I even saw an article where someone was discussing, they said they think the Fed might wait a little bit longer so that things actually get a little bit worse. I know. And then therefore they would decide, okay, now is the time. The head of the Fed mentioned before, he said his job is to basically uphold the strength of the US dollar, and he will do that by any means necessary. This happened earlier this year when people were basically screaming, hey, everyone's losing their jobs, no one has money, no one's hiring, you gotta do something. Economic experts are now indicating that Japan might actually continue to tighten their monetary policy. And they think, this is on CNBC, it says apparently people are expecting that even in October, they might raise the interest rate again after announcing that they probably wouldn't do it until the middle and or the end of next year. Apparently, economists at Moody also said they're expecting a rate hike from Japan in October. They're also expecting One at the beginning of 2025, and they said they're thinking that it's going to be in January. What we're seeing is, this is a lot. This is actually a lot, because the markets are kind of riding on the idea that the Fed is going to lower interest rates. There are not many places for institutions and governments and other places to essentially get free money. And as those places continue to get snatched away, the economy does worse and worse and continues to go down. By all measurements, if we get a Fed lowering in about a week and some change, we should do pretty well for the rest of the year. It might get a bit shaky, but we should be on the up and up. If they don't give us an interest rate decrease and Japan raises theirs, we are probably going to spiral into one of the craziest recessions that we've seen in a long time. Other countries are also now discussing raising their interest rates because their inflation also isn't going down. I'm not sure how much like economic world news people look at, and or like other, not like from YouTubers per se, but like, you know, the news on YouTube, like where they talk about like certain economic areas and what people are currently going through. And like there's a lot of videos of people going to the supermarkets and stuff like that, and they're like, last month this was 145, it's now 280, and those kinds of things. A lot of people are barely holding on. Barely. And one of the silver linings is that if we had 3 interest rate decreases and lowering ofs from the Fed, 3 of them potentially by spring of next year, everything would begin to basically recover. This is major news. This is absolutely, I don't want to use the word terrifying, but because nothing was fixed in 2008 and 2009, and nothing is being fixed now, you might remember earlier this year and in the end of last year, countries began to turn the money printer back on because they said we don't know what else to do. So now the idea is to simply continue tightening economic policies at the expense of hundreds of millions of billions of people who already aren't doing well economically. I am certain this news will continue to unfold over the course of the next couple of weeks. If we get news by the end of September that they're going to be raising interest rates, I don't know what's coming. I have no idea what's going to happen, because people are even now saying, a lot of economists are saying that they think that the stock market might do well from a Fed rate cut, but we would need indications that there's going to be multiple in rapid succession lowerings, or the market would go up and basically get extremely scared once again. They got us in this situation and they have no idea how to get out. They boxed us. They boxed themselves. They ruined all economies, entire economic policies. Do you remember earlier this year when the head of the Fed, for those of you who don't remember, oh my gosh, the head of the Fed said he didn't understand why people were so upset with the economy. He was like, the job numbers are looking good. This is so-and-so. This is also looking pretty good. Why is everyone upset? Like the numbers are fine. Have you seen how many people can't afford their mortgage, can't afford their homes, can't afford their rent, can't afford groceries, have lost their jobs? The videos I've seen of hundreds of people who can't find a job. Like, these are just from the videos. These people are like, I sent in 500 resumes. I sent my CV to everyone. No one's hiring. There was even a video of this. It was the weirdest thing ever. This woman was saying she had so much pride. So she was constantly just, she applied to multiple places, but she was saying at some point, she was like, I can't find anything. I'm going to apply to McDonald's. And then she applied to McDonald's and she got rejected. And I understand why she got rejected immediately. It's not because she was over or underqualified. It's because she wasn't at the front of the line. She's not the first person to think there's nothing else. I have to go work at McDonald's. And there's only, if you've ever been to a McDonald's or any fast food place, they maybe have, what, 6 to 9 workers working there. If you get 48 applications, buddy boy, you're not going to get anything. So, yeah, I don't know what this is. I have no idea what this is going to lead to. I hope that, I mean, this is everywhere. Like, this is actual, like, major news because of the actual indication that Japan might do this sometime in October. So other countries already aren't doing well. China still has not recovered. I don't know how often you look at Chinese, not Chinese news, but like about their economy, about the real estate and stuff market, which also has never still recovered, and all their other little issues that they also have that are currently going on. Every economy is not doing well. The answer is essentially to print more money, because that's the only way that the market actually works. It's to print more money, flood people with money so that they keep the economy propped up. But this is why no one's really spending anything. It's because people don't know where the next dollar is going to come from. But you're being told to spend more because that's how you keep the economy up. Are you understanding? Like, the actual is like a catch 99. You don't have a job. You don't have a lot of money coming in. You can't spend anything. You're trying to save. The system doesn't need you or want you to save because it needs you to continuously pump money into the market and the economy to be able to keep it afloat. That's how the GDP goes up. People spend more imports, more exports. There's nothing left to do. If you keep tightening all the policies, we go into a depression. The other issue is that they have to print more money. That raises inflation. We're witnessing saying the end of the end of fiat is a bit too intense, but we're witnessing the trap that they try to catch us in, that they can't get out of. Have you gotten a chance to look at property prices in a lot of different places? Like, you see that they're like rapidly going down. If you haven't noticed, depending on where you live, they're going down because the interest rates. People aren't taking out loans and taking out debt. So therefore, people aren't buying. Yeah. So, as I said before in a number of other videos, I hope you've been taking my advice since around February. I hope you are saving. I hope you are putting money away. That expensive thing that you want to buy, that you've been looking at for a while, that you have a tab open for, you might want to close that. Put more money into your savings account. Build up an emergency savings account. Because if things don't go well, we are going to have a major problem on our hands. And a lot more layoffs are going to happen. There are already major companies who are talking about more layoffs. That's going to trickle down everywhere. These companies lay off people to show the shareholders that they made money. I don't have to pay that person and 800 other people $55,000 plus a year. Look how much money we made. Hope you're all doing okay. Hope you're all saving. Hope you're all having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.